Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about The Silence by Don DeLillo, his new novel. Now, I am a Don DeLillo fan. I've read several of his books such as Underworld, White Noise, Libera, I haven't read Libera, I haven't mean to, The Body Artist, Cosmopolitan, and he's just such a great, beautiful author, and he does this thing where his works are very postmodern. They're realist in the sense that he's talking about everyday occurrences, that's the small everyday struggles of people, but then he'll add these weird elements, or like in Mao too, the cult aspect. In this one, he adds a lot of theories about Einstein, and it's almost like he's trying to almost express the zeitgeist of the time through the common man, through the common word. So often dialogue can be broken up, not fully formed, kind of like we do in everyday language. And so it just kind of creates this really beautiful and great mixture of the two. And he does this in this book, but this book is really weird. It's just the premise of the book is pretty much like it's set in 2022 between two groups of people who eventually meet, and it's pretty much like a Y2K incident where everything goes off, and that's why the tablet at the front is off, and there's a plane crash, the streets are a little bit of rioting in the streets, but it's mainly just taking perspective of just these two people and how they address it. Now, it gets weird because you have one guy talking about Einstein's theorem of relativity throughout the book. You have people, some of them are former students, and there's random sex scenes throughout the book. And this is almost like DeLillo, but to another level. But I'm not sure it's the best story necessarily, because it just creates this surreal atmosphere. But sometimes, unlike his other books, I don't know how relevant it is. For example, when in White Noise, when he keeps going on dissertations about orange, code orange or the orange juice, using it to wash away graffiti, and it just associating the color orange with erasure. And I feel like a lot of times when DeLillo does that, he just kind of points out things we don't understand the meaning behind words as much as we thought we do. We don't understand how these structures got to this place. Kind of like in White Noise, where you have medication that doesn't work, you have a toxic cloud that may or may not kill you. You have all these elements that that are chemicals that may be poisonous, that have differentiating uses, and as well differentiating levels of working. And it just kind of brings to mind of what is it, and what the exact definition is of a chemical. What is the definition of the color orange? And just DeLillo's really great about just bringing a lot of those questions, of bringing a lot of those ideas, how much we don't know. And there's a line in this book that I really feel sums it up great. It's called "Lost Systems in the Crux of Everyday Life," meaning that we're just kind of born into the systems, and we don't really think about necessarily the relevancy of them that take place and how they got there and what they actually mean, and maybe more actuating them on a mid 1800s ideology of what it means. But the problem I have with this book is that while he's employing a lot of the same elements, it feels a little posh in a way. It's the characters are all in this global blackout. They're not sure if it's another force or another foreign force or aliens, and they are reflecting on life about how computers affect us, about cryptocurrency and everything. But it also feels like that's kind of an old message of internet takes us away from the everyday experiences. And on top of that, if you have a global blackout, do you really want to focus on cryptocurrency? It's just kind of a little strange, and there's a little disconnect. I know there's criticism with DeLillo's later works that they're not as sharp and poignant as his earlier works. I'm not too familiar with his later works. I think the only one I read was The Body Artist, which wasn't too much to write home about, but it was kind of strange. But and I just feel this, I can probably see how that criticism can come about, because while this isn't bad by any means, it's just kind of, you walk away from it feeling a bit of a disconnect between the events happening, the ideology he's trying to express, even though there's a straight connection there. Another thing with this book is that the words are huge. There's a lot of space on it. I got this for $20. Absolutely support Don DeLillo, but if you want to wait for a price drop, I wouldn't blame you, because this is a lot for it's still DeLillo. It's still a beautiful language at the end of the day. And I probably wouldn't recommend this to a first-time people wanting to go into DeLillo. I think things like White Noise, Mao 2 would be much better points of entry. But like, this is not like it's horrible or anything like that. It just like it's not prime DeLillo when I think of Don DeLillo. But yeah, that's The Silence by the author's name I said a million times already.